Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome back to the
Hello.
Games and Culture Podcast, your bi weekly source for all things news and our opinions about all things gaming. As always, I'm Caleb, that's Nick.
Hello.
You know the drill. We're going to expound for a couple minutes about things we've been playing. We'll give you the news, kick a couple dead horses, and then we'll all get on with our day. Uh, and you walk away a little bit more informed, and maybe your opinions will be a little bit closer to ours. That's what we do here. So as always, Nick, what you've been playing? I know we're entering a very hectic part of the year.
There's too many. I'm still trying to work through the investigations games on the Switch, and I'm hoping to get that done before Mario Luigi Brothers Ships comes out. I still haven't played Zelda either, so like, god dang it, there's just
I
too
have
much coming
also
up.
not played Zelda yet. They had it on sale this week on Amazon. I thought about buying it because it was like $52. And I was
No, that's
like,
not bad.
yeah, 'cause that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. I said, and I was like, I'm not gonna get to it, so we're just not.
Fair. I mean, we had to go ham on some stuff now. I'm
um,
also
I,
trying to uh play through the Life is Strange series. I've played through the prequels, the original one before. I decided to replay them before the new one comes out. But so, I haven't played Two or True Colors yet. But with everything else, it's just hard to like find time to play that on top of everything else getting played.
live service games got to go out the window. That's I know it's hard to
Sorry
do,
for
but I mean,
sorry for
I
that
already
party game.
finished. I already finished the League Worlds Pass. You know, I could probably give it up for a couple weeks. No, I can't. It's impossible. Uh, um, but yeah, I'm also playing through Miles Edgeworth Investigations, but that's been placed on hold for the presumptive game of the year. Atlas kicked open the door and says, "Your attention, please." And I said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir."
Yeah, it's we both been playing it too. Uh, I mean, it's Final Fantasy meets Persona. That's really the best way to describe it right now.
Yeah, I mean, it is. What system are you playing it on your PlayStation?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
playing
okay.
PS5.
I'm playing it on my Steam Deck and my PC, so a little bit of a difference in performance. I have
Yeah, I would
simultaneously
imagine
worse and better than you.
you're existing in two realities.
I am. I am. That being said, though, I mean, this is going to be the metaphor section of the show because there's lots to talk about because both of us are very excited about this game. I want to get one bad thing out of the way, and this is a very small bad thing. It's more just my irritation, and I just want to put it out there. So, you didn't play the demo, right?
No.
Okay, so I started the demo the week of release, so earlier this week at time of recording, just kind of to get like a leg up into it as it was releasing. And so the save from your demo carries over, or so they say. There's some kind of bug or something with the PC demo that wouldn't allow your save data to carry over. So small irritation there. I followed some advice of like moving files around and stuff like that. It didn't work. So I only ended up losing like an hour and a half of progress. It wasn't that big a deal. Once things are said and done, I skipped all the cutscenes and just like barreled my way through that opening section of the game. It only ended up taking me like 45 minutes, but it is kind of it almost was a blemish on the game I was most so looking forward to this year. Uh, Especially because other companies have done the demo transfer thing flawlessly. And from what I hear too, the PlayStation and Xbox demos, it was flawless across the board. So, if you're looking at maybe trying this game out prior to it to buying the full release, um, it sounds like if you go all the way through the demo, it transfers easier or something like that. But just be mindful of that. But like I said, that is an extremely small thing.
Different files are not interacting correctly, so it's just like a bug or something.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, the game itself doesn't really have any of those issues in terms of
No.
uh, game breaking bugs.
No. The only disappointing thing that I've seen in terms of like the performance is just that it doesn't have a whole lot of options on PC to adjust things. So on Steam Deck in particular, it is marked as playable and not verified, which is odd because all of the other Atlas stuff is verified. and it's because you have to manually go in and change the settings. And so yeah, they didn't they were very very concise when it came to the different options and stuff, which is a little disappointing because I'd like to try to fine tune those down to a certain point. Um but the
Yeah,
performance has been fine. I'm
yeah,
getting like an average of 40 FPS in like the really populated areas or the really big areas, but it's been mostly 60 FPS like in the dungeons or the more confined spaces or combat and stuff like that. So, really not a huge issue on my PC. Everything's super fine, 120 FPS, everything that I want out of it.
yeah.
Um,
I've that's what I've heard. Like the performance may not be the great. I know did you found you put a thing where on the PS5 version it struggles sometimes to hit 60. But I'm being turn based. It's like okay, it's kind of weird that's doing that. Um, Weirdly enough, the PS4 version runs at a lock 60 on the PS5, but its textures and environments aren't as good.
yeah,
Um, but there's also no performance options on PlayStation at all. There's just you start the game and that's it. There's no quality or performance check.
yeah.
So they Digital Foundry did say they are curious what the PS5 Pro is going to do with the game. Maybe that can help stabilize some things.
Probably, I would assume so. It's just that frame rate does it being a turn-based game does help it out a lot, but there are some things where it does a lot like Persona 5 does, where there's these like sweeping panning shots where your character shrinks down really low so that you can see more of the environment. And the main city, Grand Trad, is huge, and there's a bunch of people walking around, and they really did do it justice in making it feel alive. And so when the frame rates drop and it doesn't feel like it's so alive anymore, that's when it's kind of like, oh, okay, um this is I noticed this, but it's not enough to take away from the game.
No, no.
I'm
I mean,
about 6 hours in. I'm through the first major leg of the game. Currently working on some side stuff. I will be spoiler free, do not worry. But I love it so far. I absolutely love it so far. Yeah, it's Persona Final Fantasy, um, or should I say Final Fantasy Persona? Because the job system, though it takes inspiration from the classic Final Fantasy job systems, it's still Atlas and Persona. Um, Upgrading your classes requires you to interact with the person that's associated with the bond that gives you the class in the first place. So they are still very much so leaning into their Persona
literally,
selves. Um, so it'd be interesting to see some like challenge runs of people just using the base classes. As it stands right now, I've got 6 classes unlocked. Um, they're the 6 of the first. I think there's 10 base classes. They all both have 2 evolutions, and that's what makes the 30 classes. Um, and I've already found myself really diving into the system and abusing it to make battles more fun, because you after you learn a class, um you can equip that class at any point in the game outside of combat. You don't have to return um to the place that you go. I don't have you unlocked that
no.
yet?
I
Okay.
no. I've gotten past the first like I guess you say like boss battle. That's about it.
So the human.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so you're right about to start doing that. So, yeah, so you can like equip classes as you feel fit after you learn them, and they auto optimize your equipment and everything like that. So, like for instance, I was a more magic focused class, and I got a tip for a side mission that said if you go in there with maces or staves, you're the monsters that in there will be enraged because they know a magic user when they see one. And I'm like, oh, that's fun. And so I swapped back to the seeker class so that I wasn't a magic based class, so that my time through that mini dungeon was easier. And there's been lots of moments like that where I've been switching up things. Oh, I need more damage. Let's turn the tank into a damage dealer. Those kind of things. So very satisfying. Um, eh, Once you learn a skill, you can inherit it to other classes. So there's a mix and matching kind of thing going. So yeah, there's lots of depth here. I like it quite a bit. Um, I said this to Nick in text message the other day. It feels the reason why this is hitting so hard for me is the story already has so much more stakes than a group of teenagers taking out some corrupt adults, which is what the Persona games are. And granted, there's more depth and nuance to it than that, but the high fantasy setting, the 8 different tribes, there's geopolitical conflicts that are helping fuel the main overarching story. And so that just leads to a lot of intrigue and a lot of depth for me. So, yeah, this game is super solid so far.
Yeah, I was gonna say compared to Persona 5 characters, I mean, while it is my favorite game, they are fairly predictable in what you think they're gonna do, and yeah, they don't really hide who they are. A villain is a villain, and a hero, a good guy's a good guy. In this game so far, I mean, there's some shady people, but there's a lot more untrustworthiness of a lot of the players so far, and it's like, I don't know who's exactly doing what now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's spectacular so far. I'm really enjoying it. Can't wait for Nick to play a little bit more so that we could talk more about it. But yeah, I mean, if this continues, it will fast track itself to be my game of the year. And honestly, everybody else agrees. That's our first big story of the episode. Is Metaphor has been tearing it up. It sold 1 million copies day one. So between
I mean,
pre-orders and people getting their hands on the demo and falling in love with it, 1 million copies day one. It has become Atlas's fastest selling game ever. And they're just running away with the momentum. Reviews came out earlier this week. It launched. I mean, it started out at a 94 and fell 1 point after more reviews come in to 93, making it the second highest rated game of the year, behind Astrobot. Um, and it's a 3 horse race for game of the year: Astrobot, Metaphor, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Um,
yeah.
for me, it's a 2 horse race because Infinite Wealth. I don't know. I don't know why that one's not in the discussion, but whatever. But yeah, it's crazy. Looking at the Steam charts right now, over last night. So we record these on Sundays. They release on Monday. So Saturday, the weekend, people have time. They bought the game. It reached a new all-time peak over yesterday at 85,194 concurrent players. As of right now, 62,789 are playing right now. This game is huge already right out of the gate, and it's so exciting to see because we've sung Atlas's praises for years now, but they're
Yeah.
starting to hit the big time. So,
Yeah,
and
no, I mean,
good.
it's great for them. I said, I mean, they got to that million so quickly. I mean, they posted that million thing like a few hours after the game launched. That was pre-orders. That was
Mhm.
absolutely just pre-orders alone. So very impressive for them. That's awesome to see. Um, I mean, the fact that I wasn't expecting to score that high. I was kind of expecting 90 to top, and the fact that it's like 93, hit 94, and then went back down to 93. I was like, oh, so another game of the year contender. Okay.
Honestly, I wasn't even expecting 90s. I thought that the job system was going to turn some people off, and then they're going to be like, I thought a lot of reviews were going to read, "Why isn't this just Persona 6?" But no, it seems like the job system and the combat and the story and the characters really pulled people in, and that's what's leading it to score so highly. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we've sung Atlas's praises for years. Um, they're hitting the big time now, and if this one sold 1 million copies day one and converted some new people into being fans, and they check out Persona 5 Royal, Persona 3 Reload, Persona 4 Golden, and like really get invested, Persona 6 can only do better, you would think. Which is crazy to say. Um
I would imagine. I think Persona 6 will be the next. Like, I think Persona 6 will break Minor Force record pretty quickly.
as long as it has a good concept. If it doesn't have a good concept, then maybe not, but if it
Maybe,
has.
but with Persona 5 hype and now Metaphors climbing onto that, I don't see a reality where it doesn't break that its own record.
Fair. Fair. Um, Did you buy the regular version or did you buy the 35th anniversary edition?
I haven't bought the 35th anniversary expansion stuff, but because
Okay.
I got the physical disc, I had to buy that separately.
Okay. Well, I won't spoil something. I was going to talk about something that made me particularly happy, but I will let you discover it on your own when you buy
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna probably buy it after the later today.
There you go. And then you'll text me about it, and we can freak out about it together. It was something I did very early on. Once I could change this particular thing, and then something happened, and I just started cracking up laughing, and I spent the next hour changing these things to make the thing happen and seeing what would happen. So you'll have to tell me about it when you do it. But yeah, so thank God for Atlas just making things way more hectic this already
Uh, this,
hectic
this
October.
is also a chunky game as in Atlas fashion.
Yes, yes. I think most of the reviews said like 80 hours or something in there, so
Yeah,
work cut
like
out for us.
they said you can easily get up to upwards of 100
Yeah,
for this. So like it's crazy. I'm hoping what this game does, because I know there's a lot of people who don't like the direction Final Fantasy has taken and going more
true.
action based. So I'm hoping what this does is kind of like, okay, if you're unhappy with that, this is essentially a Final Fantasy game that still is turn based.
Yeah, and I could see them doing more of these games. I mean, you made the joke
Oh yeah,
yesterday that this is now Soul Hackers gets the boot for the next Atlas franchise in favor of
right.
Metaphor, but that really very well could be the change.
That's I mean, how fast this thing sold? Yeah, no, because they said when Soul Hackers 2 came out, they wanted a third pillar and they were looking for it to happen. Soul Hackers didn't sell it well, unfortunately. Because I was the pillar 1 and 2 are Persona and Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah,
Um, so this with how fast this thing sold and how well it's reviewed, this is the third pillar now. It's Metaphor.
yeah. It'd just be interesting to see if this franchise stays in the high fantasy or if this becomes the vehicle to explore all sorts of different genres. You know?
Yeah, I thought that because there is. I won't go to too much detail, but there is some things off rip in Metaphor that are pun intended metaphors for something, and you're just like,
Yeah.
huh? Are you trying to allude to going someplace else with this eventually? Like this,
Yes.
the allegories they're making are very strange. And I'm too early in the story to know where this is going to pay off.
Yeah,
But they're there.
because Metaphor's official title is Metaphor Re Fantazio. So why couldn't we have a Metaphor Re Scientifico or something along those
They'll workshop
lines?
the name. They'll workshop the name.
I mean, yes. Atlas, come to us if you need some help. We'll be glad to help. But yeah, it will be interesting to see if this is a vehicle to explore some other genres that maybe they don't feel comfortable bringing to Persona or Shin Megami Sensei because they are inherently
It is.
rooted in our world.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. Because I mean, you could do like some kind of like mythology one or like other cultures because this is obviously very Euro inspired with the fantasy setting. So why couldn't we go eastward and make it some like Chinese folklore or Japanese folklore? I think this is how they kind of expand into those genres otherwise. But or maybe they'll just stick to high fantasy. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of options for them
Who
with
the
this,
knows?
but
But yeah, all the love and sales in the world to Atlas. They're wonderful. They make great, awesome games. If you are a Final Fantasy fan that has been turned off by like Final Fantasy 15 and 16 and want the turn-based stuff, definitely give the Atlas games a shot. Go out, buy Metaphor, enjoy it, then go buy Persona 5 Royal, and then go grab Persona 3 Reload and Persona 4 Golden. You'll play all JRPGs this fall. Dragon Quest comes out soon too, so there you go.
and Mario and Luigi, like, oh my god,
Yeah, I don't
there's
want to
so
talk
many
about it.
RPG. You're an
Again,
RPG fan. You're
I said this last episode. This may be a world that we live in where I don't play a Zelda game because there's just too much other shit coming out.
and they're all RPGs. I mean, if you're an RPG fan, you're eating good right now.
I'm
A little,
so full. I'm
a
so
little too
full.
good.
I'm
You're like,
so full.
please stop. No, have some more.
I have played Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload, and its DLCs, and a couple other RPGs this year. Like, I'm so full, but I want to keep eating. All right, let's move away from Japanese companies to a French company. Let's talk about Ubisoft.
Woo!
Remember them? Remember Ubisoft? Remember the fond days of Assassin's Creed 2 and Far Cry 3? We're far removed from those. As we talked about last episode, this has been an ongoing saga with Ubisoft. To backpedal a little bit, Star Wars Outlaws didn't sell well. Ubisoft's panicking. They delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows to next year to finish polishing it and to make sure it simultaneously releases on Steam. Stock prices plummeted as a result because they're going into a holiday season without their number one IP on the table. And now we're starting to see some fallout from that. I'm quoting a Verge article here that Ubisoft is shopping around for some buyers, and Tencent, the Chinese mega corporation that currently has holdings in a bunch of different video game companies, Riot, Epic Games, bunch of different holdings. Tencent sniffing around now. Tencent already owns some shares in Ubisoft. They own about 10% stake in Ubisoft. The Guillemot family, who runs Ubisoft and has owned it for its entire life, they own 49.9% of the company. So they're still controlling. But it has, there rumors have been stoked that Tencent might try to buy out the Guillemot family shares and bring the company back into private, and kind of basically take over. And Ubisoft responded to this rumor by basically confirming it. Ubisoft said in its response that it regularly reviews all of its strategic options in the interest of its stakeholders and will inform the market if and when appropriate. So they didn't say no, our company's financially fine and we're not exploring any kind of buyouts. They basically said, no, yeah, we're looking.
I mean, it's unfortunate because I mean you don't need more consolidation, but with Ubisoft's context, I'm not surprised. I mean,
I
they are
no.
no, they are. I mean, of honest of any publisher in the industry, they're the most bloated by far. They have 20,000 employees.
Yes.
Um, that's more than any other public. That's more than Microsoft with all their base studios, Bethesda, and Activision combined.
Yeah, if we're talking just headcount, just the number of people, Ubisoft is the largest gaming company in the industry, which is crazy to think about when you think about their output over the last decade. I think
I
Nick, you said it last episode. They're the kings of mid, but they have all of this headcount. So not only are they releasing mid games, but their games have to be so much more successful than they have any right to be in
mhm.
order to make back the money to pay all of those staffs, to pay the production costs, and to make a profit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want layoffs, but like, I don't understand how Ubisoft ever got that big to begin with. Honestly, I think this has been an issue for them even before the pandemic because there was a lot of hiring in the pandemic years. 21, 22, when companies thought they were going to keep growing from what the spike the pandemic gave them.
Mm-hmm.
But Ubisoft was doing that before that even happened. So this has just been a continuation of a pre-existing problem. But they do that and they put out mid games at the time. The mid games that go on sale very quickly. Again, ultimately, I don't understand how a third party publisher has a larger head count than how big Microsoft is
Yeah.
in totality. And Microsoft's a first party platform still. I mean, they're kind of moving away from that, but I don't think you would think that the big three, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, those two would be the top three headcounts because they're platform holders,
Yeah. Especially Microsoft.
especially
Oh,
Microsoft.
because in terms of IP holdings, Microsoft is now the largest in the game industry. right up there with Embracer Group. So it's you're
They have
exactly right.
COD.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And yeah, and the 5 studios that make COD.
Yeah, like, that thing is a machine. Like,
And somehow
how?
Ubisoft is bigger. Yeah, I personally think that layoffs are unavoidable.
Yeah,
Um,
they are with unfortunate. I, again, don't want them, obviously, but Ubisoft's just been mismanaged to hell for so long.
I imagine. So yeah, so Ubisoft is straight up hitting the panic button. So not only is Star Wars Outlaws releasing on Steam in November ahead of the usual 6 month ish exclusivity with Epic, Assassin's Creed Mirage, which came out last year, is now hitting the platform like ASAP. There's not even a release date. It's just coming out sometime this month on Steam because they got to get it out. They need as much revenue as humanly possible. So I think that once we get through the holiday period where everybody's grandma goes out and buys Just Dance, and maybe they soak up some sales from Star Wars Outlaws of people that may have had Steam or maybe were waiting on a sale that released Star Wars Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I think after they get Assassin's Creed out the door, I think they're just gonna be
March.
lobbing heads. It's gonna be French Revolution numero two. Heads will indeed roll because they have to condense themselves.
Hmm.
I don't know
I
what
mean,
projects are in the work right now. I would imagine that if it's not from an IP that they think is going to sell gangbusters right out of the gate, I
mhm,
imagine it gets canceled. And in fact, they've already canceled some games this year. They canceled that Division game that they were working on. I don't know if it was like a mobile game or something like that, but it was a Division game that they canceled. Um, and so yeah, I imagine that heads will roll.
yeah, they've been making us they've been making a lot of bad decisions. As I don't want layoffs to happen. I mean, the people who deserve to get fired, people, the managers who
Yeah,
gladly be off the spot, but because you have so many employees, you're gonna have that's part of the problem. So you're gonna have to cut.
yeah,
But they've done so many things. Like there was like even in Mario plus Rabbit Sparks of Hope, which was reviewed pretty well actually, more
yes,
so better than most Ubisoft games are, because Nintendo obviously had a clamp on them. It still didn't sell that well because you Nintendo actually told Ubisoft, don't release it. You know what? I mean, we can't stop you release because it's you made the game, obviously. So you have a right to do that. Um, but they told them they recommended hold on to it, sit on it, wait till the Switch 2, release it there because kind of following Nintendo's old pattern of one major thing, like Mario Kart or something like that.
yeah,
Um, but they didn't want to do that, so they pushed the game out the door. And the game was I didn't care for as much as the first one, but the game was fine, in terms of like
yeah.
performance and stuff like that, and it didn't sell well. You had Nintendo over here telling you like, here's how we stay stable. Do it this way. No.
Well, and I think it's just a variety of backlash against Ubisoft because I remember when that game came out, and I within a month it had went on sale for $20 less than the launch price. So people
Hmm.
just know that if they hold out, play something in their backlog or something else that they've been working on, the game's gonna go on sale because
I
that's
mean,
Ubisoft.
I mean, I wasn't really interested in Outlaws for much to begin with because I kind of had a feeling that things would be kind of murky for it. But also the same thing. Like, there's $120 version I could probably get for the base price of the game in a couple of months. So I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, there's other stuff to play. You're not spoiled for choice this year in terms of great games to play.
Mm-mm.
Uh, and so yeah, it's just wait a couple months. It'll go on sale. I mean, it already has gone on sale. Star Wars Outlaws released in August, and it already has been on sale several times from what I've seen.
I didn't know that. It's been a month and a half because it released late August.
Mm-hmm.
Dear
Like August
God.
19th, something like that. August
Yeah,
21st, somewhere in there.
that's insane. Like, yeah, that's as I said, heads are gonna roll. I'm not surprised. Tencent is the one. I don't really know if anyone else could do it. I mean, Microsoft shouldn't because obviously they have so much already. I don't
Yeah,
think the
they
upper
they,
brass.
they got they got a hefty debt already.
Yeah, I don't think the upper brass at Microsoft really want to spend money like that again. and also the fact that because of the things with Activision, Ubisoft has like right of like streaming cloud games and something for Activision games. So that would just if Microsoft were to attempt that would run against deals they had to make to get the deal through in the first place for Activision. So they just
Yeah.
can't do it.
And here's the
So
thing, though. I don't even think anybody would want to.
no, I mean,
Ubisoft has such a bad reputation on its name alone.
like I why would I don't the other one who could maybe afford it would be Sony, but I don't think Sony would want them.
Sony doesn't want
B
them.
um I don't think Sony could get it done even if they wanted to because since Microsoft's clearly just getting worse in the consoles, Sony is kind of on an island now.
Yeah.
So like they're gonna say like, no, you're way too strong in the space or now. You're not gonna get
Well, and
stronger.
even besides, Sony wouldn't want to anyways because they have competing franchises.
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed and Ghost of Tsushima slash Yote, kind of conflicting franchises there. Um, you've
I
got,
mean, but you have Bungie who's already a mess, and
yeah,
so Sony's like they've been a headache for Sony for a bit. Like Ubisoft's clearly a mess. I don't think Sony wants that headache
exactly.
dealing with that.
And the gaming landscape right now is a little on the rougher side because we're coming down from the gigantic boom that was the pandemic that for some reason people thought would last forever. Don't know why. Um, And so I don't think anybody except for Tencent is in even a remote position to want to deal with Ubisoft. And because again, here's the thing: you are purchasing the bad will along with the IPs. Like Assassin's Creed is no longer known as the stealth action game that jumps through history. It's now known for bloated, icon-filled messes of maps where you don't even have to assassinate people with some history. And honestly, they've been kind of going away from the history aspect a little bit. You're fighting Anubis in Assassin's Creed Origins, and dealing with a bunch of Norse gods in Valhalla. Like, come on, you know. And so, like, yeah, I really don't feel bad for Ubisoft because like this is I don't wish any ill will to them at all, but this is the kind of like environment you've created.
Hmm. And there's been like reports of toxicity for a very long time about
Oh yeah,
Ubisoft of bad work environments of multiple kinds. So they've again the managers are the ones that deserve their head on the chopping block,
yeah,
and some of them may get it. Um, but unfortunately, there's going to be developers who are going to get hit with the impact too. They're
yeah.
just
If
that to be frank, it's between them and Embracer. It's hard to say who's in more of the biggest mess in the industry right now because they're both fighting for that title.
Yeah, if I had to guess, this is not just going to be a we laid off this many people. I would probably presume that studios will close.
I can see that.
So, like right off the top of my back, you've got Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Ontario. They both make Assassin's Creed games. Maybe you
They'll
drop to
probably
one
stay.
studio. Yeah, maybe you
They could
close.
do that.
Maybe you close Ontario. Maybe fold some of the members into Montreal. Go from there. Um, you've got Massive, who made Star Wars Outlaws and did the Division. I don't think that they'll close that studio down per se, but I'm sure that there's ways that they can just you know slice them down a little bit. It's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be pleasant. Um, and if we've got any Ubisoft employees listening to the show, feel free to let us know what your experience is like at the studio. And if I were you, I'd probably brush up on your resume because I mean I think the last time I looked, the stock price was like under $10 for Ubisoft.
Yeah, but I mean, also the fact that if they're gonna look for a buyer, they're gonna cut before that because the buyer may say, I don't want to buy all that."
Yeah,
So,
yeah. If they cut beforehand, it'll make them more appealing for a buyout. I mean, that's what Square Enix did with before they sold Crystal Dynamics and IO to Embracer. They did a bunch of layoffs, and then they're like, "Okay, here you go." So
mhm. I mean, they
to
could
make
be
it
doing that
more
too.
appealing.
They might sell off some stuff to other companies too. That's possible. Ubisoft's just not in a
Nintendo, buy the rabbits. Nintendo, buy the rabbits. Buy Rayman. Buy Rayman and the rabbits. Nintendo, please.
That's the only thing you need to take from just Nintendo the rabbits. Like everything else, we're good.
Hand him a $5. Just take that under your wing. Just hold that. Put that in your Switch 2 bag for later. Well, speaking of Nintendo, they had a new hardware announcement this week, and it wasn't the
What?
Switch 2. It was
Y'all need an alarm clock?
Alarmo. What's Alarmo, you ask? What, you've never heard of Alarmo? Why,
I
it's
mean, they might
only the
have.
most cutting edge software of the fucking early 2000s. So yes, Nintendo did a hardware announcement this week, and
That's
nobody
what
knew
everyone
what the
wanted.
fuck it was. And it ended up being a Nintendo sound alarm clock called Alarmo. I want to preface this by saying this is absolutely harmless. I do not care that they did this, but I
No, it's
have
whatever.
tons of fucking questions.
I mean,
So,
the only criticism I have for it is like, people are like chomping at the bit for your next piece of hardware, for like the actual hardware to make,
yes.
and you're like, here's an alarm clock. Like, maybe read the room a little bit.
Well, I think they need to read the room a lot of bit because who the fuck uses alarm clocks anymore?
I mean, that's true too.
That's why I
That's true.
have this so that I
And
don't have to.
it's already metaphor.
I knew you were gonna say something when I did it. Yeah, that's what I think. I was watching it going, "Who's this for?" Because like in the trailer, they showed people in their like 20s using it, and I'm like, "That's not real. This is gonna be for like a child who probably already has a phone and uses it."
Yeah,
Like,
that's.
it's just so
I mean,
weird. So what it is, it's a digital alarm clock that comes preset with sounds from certain Nintendo video games. So it's Splatoon, Mario Odyssey,
Breath of the Wild, I
Breath
think.
of the Wild, uh,
Ring
Ring
Fit, and
Fit,
then
and Pikmin.
yeah,
Yeah. And so what it does is it will play sound effects and songs. Oh, and Animal Crossing. No, Animal Crossing and Mario Kart are coming later.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it'll get updates. Your alarm clock can get
Yeah.
software
Built-in
updates.
Wi-Fi, baby. But so yeah, it'll play sounds and music from the games to wake you up. But it's not just a clock. It also has a creepy camera in it to track your movement. So when the alarm goes off and you inevitably toss and turn, it will play sound effects from the games to recognize your movement and to keep helping you get up. So the example they showed was Mario Odyssey. It played the classic jump song from Mario Odyssey, and when the person would move, it would play the collecting coin sound to kind of help jostle them awake. Cool. It will track your sleep schedule. It will play an hourly chime at the top of every hour based on the video games that you've chose. Um, yeah,
It's also
that's
$100.
that's that's Alarmo. Yeah, and it's $100. Yes, $100 for Nintendo Switch Online members only.
Sad part is it sold out.
Is it?
It's sold out.
I'm on the website right now. Is it? It still says.
That's what I heard. It sold out. That's what I read at least. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm not signed in on the website. Maybe that's why it may be sold out. Who knows? But fuck, dude. It's just
Silly.
so weird. Like, we made the joke in our little like pre-show kind of meeting just to get on the same page about what we talk about. And I said Nintendo's gonna Nintendo, and you said Nintendo may have Nintendo too close to the sun. And I'm like, I feel the same way, because like, who's going to buy
Apparently, some
a
people, because it's
$100
sold
alarm
out.
clock?
Apparently, a lot of people get sold out. Apparently,
Well, if you are one of those people, please let us know in the comments why you bought $100 alarm clock when I know you use your phone.
here's the
Just,
thing.
just tell me why.
Yes, for certain people, you just slap Nintendo on it. Like for some people, you the Apple logo on things. They buy it.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
really just the end of it.
but at least the things that you slap the Apple logo on. This is the one compliment I'll give Apple. At least they make products that are useful. This is not useful.
I mean, Nintendo.
Because again, everybody already has an alarm clock. Like,
Again, like, I
dude.
mean, Nintendo slapped their name on cardboard.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's an excellent point. Yeah, but not very many people bought the cardboard. That's the thing.
I mean, true, but it's cardboard. I'm making more people buy this than the
Yeah.
cardboard.
It's just so
So
weird, man. It's just so weird. I was watching this announcement Slack draw because I was just like, is this happening right now?
as I said, like I don't have much issue. Like this is a Nintendo thing Nintendo do, but it's like one, why $100 really for an alarm clock? Two, I was like maybe now wasn't the best time to
Yeah,
announce this. Like
for sure.
maybe announce the Switch 2 first and then do the alarm clock later. Like give it a couple months. But everyone's just kind of like foaming at the mouth for Switch 2 and just like alarm clock.
Alarm clock. Alarm clock. Switch 2, we don't got those. We got this instead.
It ain't ready yet. Clock ready.
We used all of our R&D money to make this instead. Sorry, you'll have to wait a little bit longer for Switch 2. Fuck.
the, the Switch one just keeps coughing up blood. Like, oh, shit. Put me out of my
Please,
misery.
please let me retire. No. I have made an alarm clock.
Like, I feel like you could just put the Alarmo's features into the Switch itself because it has the IR sensor in the Joy-Con.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. This could have been an update. This could have been this could have been an app that you could have charged $10 for, Nintendo. That you didn't have to spend any of your R&D budget on. Oh, you're so right. It could have been a fucking app on the Switch. Oh, that makes this announcement way harder to swallow now. I just want to let you know. Like this is hurt me deeply. Ugh.
That's it. It's just clowny, but it's not that deep.
Yeah, it's really not that deep.
It's just funny.
It's just ultimately it's just weird. It's ultimately just weird. It's a weird thing to announce in the way that they did. It's a weird thing to release in general because like again, who actually uses an alarm clock? Um and so yeah, it's just all around odd. It's nothing harmful. I'm sure those people who bought it aren't actually going to use it, but it might make it might make somebody happy or might make somebody fun. I think it's great for if you've got a kid. Um,
Decent
'cause
stocking stuffer, I guess, if you're willing to spend that much on a stocking stuffer.
um, and I think that's why they announced it now was to get in for the holiday season. I think
Possibly.
because it's available for pre-purchase now. It looks like so. I don't know when it's actually going to be shipping out. Ships by early November. So yeah, they wanted to get it in before the holiday season, but certainly an odd one. Certainly an odd one to be very clear. I suspect that if this does well, we'll get some more colors out of it instead of just the Mario Red. But who knows? Who knows? But next up, we're going to talk about some of the big releases. Typically, we wouldn't spend this much time on other games aside from what we've like been playing and stuff. But like this week and a
A
half
lot.
has been
A
hectic.
lot.
And some really great stuff has came out, and some not so great stuff has came out. Um, Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred's new expansion came out earlier this week. Off to a strong start. It's got an 86 on OpenCritic. Reviewers really liked it. Mostly scored 8s to 9s out of 10 across the board. Apparently, the new Spiritborn class is a lot of fun. So, good for a good win for Blizzard. So, awesome. They're still fucking up with Overwatch, but hey, Diablo 4, World of Warcraft going strong. Fix Overwatch, you bastards. I don't even care that there's a My Hero Academia fucking crossover event. I don't care. Let that sink into your fucking brain. I don't care about a My Hero thing in Overwatch. That's how far we've come.
Yeah, you got Marvel Rivals in a couple months. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait. Can't wait.
Your your new Vice.
Let's get into the horror category of the show. Silent Hills remake. Super, super strong reviews. Sitting
I
at an
was not
87 on
expecting.
OpenCritic.
I was not expecting that.
I don't think anybody was expecting this. I think
No,
everybody from the early trailers thought that this thing was going to flop, and it has not.
no, they did it. I mean, Blooper Team, track record has not been very good in the trailers. The first few trailers to me weren't very impressive. So it was flying an uphill battle, but they won their uphill battle. They proved themselves. Apparently, it's a lot of people have said they've done an outstanding job of playing around with some of the original stuff and really just staying true to what the original did, which is I from the trailer it didn't look like they did. I never played the original, but I know a little bit about it.
Yep.
It didn't seem like they were doing that, but apparently they did. So
Yep.
it wasn't on my radar, but unfortunately now it is, and unfortunately I don't have time for it though.
Yeah, some standout reviews. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10, saying that it was a great way to visit or revisit this classic horror game. Game Rant gave it a 9 out of 10, said it's a incredible horror game experience that successfully expands on the beloved original. PC Gamer was a little more lukewarm, gave it a 78 out of 100. Still said that it's fun, it just has some flaws. So yeah, Silent Hill 2 coming out swinging. Perfect timing too for it, with it being Halloween season and everything like that. Um, I think that this game will ramp up in terms of sales, because I think everybody was on the same page of like, we don't really think this thing's going to be that good. And then reviews came. First adopters have all seemed to like it, and so now we're getting into that phase where everybody's telling their friends and everybody's going to get it, like Nick.
Yeah,
Going on to the other side of the horror, let's talk about the not so good one, Until Dawn's remake slash remaster. Very lukewarm 69 on OpenCritic.
nice.
Only 43. Nice, yeah. Only 43% of the critics recommend it. Seems like a lot of technical issues and bugs kind of hampered it. But I think the thing that hampered it the most was just that it's the same game from 2015.
I'm gonna say we're going from one horror game to another. We're also going from one remake to another. A remake that was you could argue was justified because the game Silent Hill 2 is kind of old
Yeah,
versus the game.
1998, I think is when it
No,
came out.
no,
99.
no, I think no, it's 2000s because
Oh,
PS2. It's PS2 title. So
was it on the PS2? I thought it was on
mhm.
PS1. Oh,
Yep, Silent Hill 2 PS2 title.
maybe I'm thinking
So
the original Silent Hill. But go ahead.
anyway, um, Until Dawn is on the PS4, and you
Yep.
can play it on the PS5 just fine.
Yep. So
So why didn't they remake? Like, and and honestly, I see some screenshots of the remake. The remake looks worse because the original had like this blue tint to it, and it gave it that that atmosphere of horror because it's a horror game. Blue tint's gone on this one. Like, so the artistic vision for the game is just bland now.
yeah.
It doesn't serve it. It also the original ran at 60. This one runs at 30.
Yep.
Like, so you made the game look worse and run worse. Like,
Yeah.
I've read apparently that on PlayStation, this game, the remake is doing worse than Concord did, which is funny because now we're using Concord as a unit of measurement for failure. Uh, but also, ooh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
Concord.
get into some of the reviews here. IGN gave it a scathing review out of 5 out of 10, saying Until Dawn is an overpriced and underfeatured remake that seems less like a must-have bit of moonlight horror and something close to a case of daylight robbery. Which I mean, that's like I said, that's scathing. PC Gamer was a little bit more positive. They gave it a 75 out of 100. Technical issues and lack of substantial upgrade aside, Until Dawn remains the perfect interactive horror movie. So that is very much the case of the game carrying it through. Um, but like he said, lack of substantial upgrade. They didn't change anything about it, which is just
I
that's not
mean,
what you want from a remake.
no, I said it a couple earlier in the week. I kind of feel bad for PC players in this regard because the game released on PC. Um, so it is. I think it's doing okay over there a little bit because they don't have the original. Like, so PS4 players can play
Well,
the superior.
we
Well,
have a
PS5 players.
way to find out. So let's find out.
I don't think the original ever released on PC.
No, I know. But we can see what the Steam
Okay.
charts is for.
I see what you're saying. I mean, my point is, I think it's doing better than on the PlayStation side of things. Um, because the PlayStation players can just put in the superior original and play it there. But PC players, you want to play this game, you just have the crappy remake.
Yeah,
So just like,
it's probably not a
what
good
they
sign that I can't find it on Steam charts right now.
like,
Nobody playing it.
I don't understand like what would be why not just um what I'm looking for. Why not just report the original and call it a day on PC?
Yeah. Another article from Push Square. With vastly enhanced graphics and minor gameplay upgrades, this is still a highly recommended game. The problem is that it costs 3 times as much as its 9-year-old predecessor and doesn't have an upgrade path. For all of its grisly glamour, that makes this remake a tough sell, especially when it runs at half the frame rate of its predecessor when playing using PS5 backwards compatibility. So yeah, I mean that pretty much says it itself. It's just like people already thought that this remake didn't really wasn't needed in the first place, and it just shows. It just shows. We've already spent plenty of time talking about Metaphor. It's fantastic. Go buy it. It's fantastic. But the other biggest release of this week,
It's
which
actually
Nick,
probably the biggest release of this week, honestly, just in terms of sales.
has it reached a
It,
million? Oh, it has.
there's no way it hasn't. There's definitely no way it hasn't. Ben isn't sure the numbers, but there's no way it hasn't. Its Steam chart numbers are way higher than Metaphors by a lot.
No, now I'm looking this up. Now I'm looking this up.
And I've seen like the sales charts for Sparking Zero, and it's trending above Metaphor on Steam. We're
Okay,
talking about
yeah, you're
Sparking
right.
Zero.
So yeah, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is the game that we're talking about. Kind of the reimagining of the Tenkaichi formula. If you're a fan of those games from the PS2 era, this seems to be
It's
basically it, but modern.
yeah, it's like it's less of a reimagine, it's more of a return to.
Yeah, fair
Um,
enough.
I mean, I got the game. I'm not like super into arena fighters at all. I mean, for the most of just I'm more like the more competitive fighters, your Street Fighter, Tekken. So games that actually have more of a competitive balance designed to them.
Yeah,
This thing is not balanced whatsoever. But credit where credit's due. The developers said off rip, like they're not intending it to be. Like, no, in no reality can you, Mr. Satan, beat Ultra Instinct Goku. And we're gonna make that very apparent in the game where there's not really a way for him to do so unless the skill is just that lopsided.
yeah,
Like so. What I like about this game, I'll say this is, I said, I mean, it's not my personal like huge cup of tea. I mean, I have a friend who's just like going nuts over it because it's Dragon Ball. Um, but I respect the fact that it knows what it is and it's trying to be a party game. It's not
for
trying
sure.
to be like it's not trying to have its kick into like, oh no, I'm Arena Fire, but I'm a competitor. Like, no, just Arena Fires are kind of party games. Just embrace that fact and go nuts with it. It knows the fact that you're just gonna, drink a beer with your friends, have a good time with it. That's all it wants to be.
Yeah. And critics agree with you. 82 score on OpenCritic. 82% of critics recommend. You are right about the Steam charts. All-time peak of 120,000 players. Currently 108,630 players are playing right now. So, yes, you are right. It is selling very well. And credit's good. Credit to credit. Credit was where credit is due. That is awesome for them. Some review highlights. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10, saying it's a flash from the past, sometimes to a fault, but the feeling of traveling back to a simpler time when games didn't have to be balanced or competitive to be fun is still a good one.
It's
Um,
exactly what I said.
yeah, PC Gamer gave it an 80 out of 100, saying it's the best Dragon Ball game we've had since the PS2, and a generous love letter to Toriyama's classic series. Game Rant gave it an 8 out of 10. Has some rough spots, but as a love letter to this franchise heyday, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero hits hard where it counts.
Mm-hmm.
Games Radar Plus gave it a 3 out of 5, a little bit more lukewarm on it. Intentionally prioritizing flashy fan service over competitive play, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero provides the most complete series toy box yet, but simple enemy AI and repetitive fighting mechanics, it lacks the depth of its more serious competition to the point of becoming rote. Um,
I don't feel that's a fair criticism of it because it wasn't trying to be like
yeah.
it's saying it's saying it fails against its competitive contemporaries, but it's not trying to be with its competitive contemporaries. It's not trying to be tech. And granted, it's going to outsell Tekken and Mortal Kombat. It won't outsell Smash Bros, but I think it'll outsell. Well, I think it'll outsell the most recent Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Um,
COG
but
Connected gave it a 95 out of 100, one of its highest reviews. I'm having so much fun with Sparking Zero. It's essentially everything I want in a Dragon Ball game. There's more than enough content to keep you busy at launch, but it's exciting to think about what they will add down the road.
mhm.
Um, so a little bit
Again,
more of a mixed bag, but there are people absolutely loving this game.
yeah, I'm not sorry. This is gonna do well. I think compared to even though competitive fighting games like Street Fighter 6 has made inroads to make things more accessible for players, like the modern controls, there's still a level of a learning curve to a game like Street Fighter that Sparking Zero just doesn't have because you still had gotta learn your combo routes and like that. Whereas Sparking Zero's I hit button, cool shit happens, and for a lot of casuals, that's all they want.
Yeah, and
So
especially
that's
especially
okay.
for a franchise that has such a wide range in terms of appeal, that's
Mhm.
exactly what you want. Because if I think that's kind of what where like Dragon Ball Fighters kind of fell a little bit short, was because you still have that same Dragon Ball appeal, but there was that classic competitive fighting game learning curve that a lot of
Yeah.
people were like, "Oh,
Well,
that's not what I came here for."
I think Fighter Z did do well. Like Fighter Z is still Arc System Works' best-selling game, by a significant shot. But I mean, there was a lot of the casuals did fall off that game because it was made more for a competitive mindset, which I still personally prefer Fighter Z over this, but that's my taste.
Yeah,
But a lot of people fell off it because they got put into a blender pretty quickly. Um, and it did have a bit of a learning curve, even though it's still easier compared to other fighting games in the market. Sparking Zero is still accessible, more accessible for casual players, so it's gonna do very well. I don't think it will win fighting game of the year. I think Tekken has that pretty much on lock.
yeah, for sure.
But for sales wise, it will surpass Tekken.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And then let's get into our last steamy pile of new release, shall we? You guys hear that Starfield had a DLC? It came out. It's not doing hot. Starfield Shattered Space released to a lot of huff and groans a couple weeks ago. Currently sitting at a 60% score on OpenCritic. 30% of critics recommend that you play it. Not good. Not good.
That that's lower than Concord.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get into it. Game ramp 5 out of 10. Starfield Shattered Space expansion is weighed down by bugs and ultimately a disappointment compared to the base game, which was already
It's a
disappointing.
I didn't know. I mean, the bugs seem like that's Bethesda. What are you expecting? But I'm like disappointment compared to the base game. What the?
Yeah, but see, you see this though. a lot of these reviews will call out bugs, and that's not something that most Bethesda reviews do. So we have now had it with the bugs. We are now holding them accountable for what they're doing. PC Gamer was a little bit more generous with a 60 out of 100. Whilst new environments are a decent aside, Shattered Space seems largely content to tread water, leaving Starfield the same mixed bag as it always was. Yikes.
Ooh.
IGN was even more generous still. Starfield's Shattered Space expansion ably fills the Varun, which is like the new place, shaped hole in the main campaign, but it doesn't shatter conventions with new abilities that would make a replay more exciting. Paul Tassi at Forbes, friend of the show, Paul Tassi at Forbes, gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Yes, this is more Starfield. A game I liked, but I am very disappointed in the way that it has barely evolved a year later. The best thing about Bethesda, the best thing is Bethesda going back to a Bethesda-like zone structure. That's good, but it also feels very inauthentic to what the game was supposed to be. This is not going to convert anyone, nor may it satisfy many veterans. I did get some pretty screenshots though. Fuck. Yeah, most reviews called out the fact that it was still bug ridden, and that the DLC was overpriced. It's $30 for 5 hours worth of new gameplay, roughly. Um, and yeah, I think most people walked away with going, yeah, this is more like Bethesda than the regular Starfield was. Cool, and then that's it. So tough times still over at Xbox and Bethesda. They can't seem to get their investment under control.
$30 is the same price they charge for Phantom Liberty.
Yes, I saw a review that compared those two, and I was like, this isn't even close. Yeah, Phantom Liberty. I mean, both of us talked about Cyberpunk during our Games of the Year of last year video. If you haven't seen that one, go check it out. There's some good games on that list. But Cyberpunk was one of the best DLCs I've personally ever played. It took the Cyberpunk 2077 level up several notches. Storytelling was great. The mission variance was fantastic. You were never doing the same things. There were stealth components, there were action components. It was wonderful. It played out like a Hollywood movie. If somebody announced right now a Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty movie and Idris Elba reprises his role, I'm there fucking opening night. Like that the game is fantastic, like action set pieces that would look super cool in a movie. It's everything that you wanted out of a DLC. It didn't break the mold on what Cyberpunk was, but it did enhance what Cyberpunk was, and that's what you want out of a good DLC. It just seems as though Bethesda is keen to just do the same shit.
I mean, people were wanting a Phantom Liberty moment out of this DLC, which one, Phantom Liberty took some time to get to. It took 3 years from its launch. This is only a 1 year turnaround.
Yes.
But I also think there's a different problems between the two of Phantom Liberty and Shattered Space. Beyond just obviously the the quality is was because I mean Phantom Liberty was designed as okay, hey, we screwed up majorly, but we're trying to fix the game. Um, so there's it just felt like there was more passion at it, and Cyberpunk never had its problems were never fundamental. I won't kind of admit the game had good bones,
Yeah.
but it wasn't finished. Starfield does not have that problem. Its main problems are the bones of it are just not that good.
Yeah.
So you have to fundamentally change the game, and a DLC that came out a year later was never going to do that.
Yeah, but they definitely could at least made the DLC something special.
I mean, they
as
could have,
as as yeah, as a reason to play Starfield. Like,
but I mean, they also could have made Starfield itself special, and they didn't do that.
and that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Um, and I think Bethesda's confused ish about Starfield. There was a one of the lead developers on it came out said that they think that it's the best game they've ever made, and it's like
Skyrim says hello.
Skyrim, Oblivion, Fallout 3, all beg to differ. But yeah, well, Xbox is very confused as why people are just skipping on the Xbox so much that they're begging for answers. This comes from Kotaku. Um, just kind of basically around the fact that a lot of new games these days are not releasing on Xbox. Baldur's Gate 3 didn't release on Xbox initially. Black Myth Wukong, one of the biggest games of this year, not releasing on Xbox yet. And so Xbox is really trying to figure out why people are skipping out on Xbox. About a week ago, Microsoft posted a developer focused blog about how the company is directly reaching out to developers and studios to help enhance the experience of making games on Xbox. And Xbox wants to hear from all devs, even those not working on Xbox games. The blog post reads, that's posted by Deborah Henderson, a principal user researcher for Xbox. If you are making video games, we're interested in hearing from you. If you aren't on Xbox, we'd love to know why. And honestly, if you're using our competitors' products, you probably have a great perspective we could learn from. Xbox claims that the strategy will allow it to gain fresh perspectives and avoid becoming an echo chamber, which is so funny. um, Dr.
Um,
Henderson goes on to say it's a bit like testing players who play games like yours. They are your target audience, and you want to hear fresh perspectives because their expectations may differ from folks who are deep in your community. Which is true. However, Xbox already is an echo chamber.
I mean, yeah, they avoid like I mean, I've seen family and they're shutting down their ambassador program, but their ambassador program led to some of the most toxic stuff I've seen in gaming
Yeah,
culture. It was really bad echo chambers. I mean, just saying the most outright ludicrous lies and stuff about that
yeah,
discernible data was saying no, this is not the case. I mean, it was bad. I'm not surprised that they're following because the echo chamber got into that mess. But
yeah,
the article kind of goes on to say, we'll kind of pay for the rest, but it's just basically stating Microsoft shouldn't have had to ask this in the first place. The fact they're asking this is sign of the problem because these are obvious solutions to this problem.
yeah.
Like
That if you were
we
paying attention to even the slightest little tiniest bit, you would know the answers to them. I mean, right
like
off the rip, your customer service seems to be terrible. The developers of Notria proved that. They had to get a call from Phil Spencer himself to get the game on Xbox. So obviously your developer customer support isn't good.
which is like
B,
I,
oh, go ahead.
I would say, I mean, because I know Microsoft itself is like out or sourcing a lot of things to doing like AI and crap like that. That's not something one AI shouldn't be pushed like that, but that's a different story. But it's still something like this. Like you need people that to keep your
Yes.
contacts open because this is a contact heavy industry.
Yes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure with Capcom. I mean, even we discussed in an earlier episode. Capcom says the fighting games were due to technical issues. No, it was not. There's no way those games were technical issues. This was
Yeah.
Microsoft not picking up the damn phone.
Yeah.
Like, how are you not picking up the phone for Capcom? I'm sure
Who
Sony
is
and
who
Nintendo.
is the most consistent dev slash publisher in the industry right
Yeah, like I'm sure Sony and Nintendo do just have Capcom. Hey, take we have Capcom line one. Okay, cancel whatever car I'm taking. What they want.
now?
Like it's that simple.
Yeah.
Like so, and if you can again, they also say the thing. If you're using our competitors' product, you probably have a great spec we can learn from. What is Sony doing? Like in terms of like talking to developers, because a lot of times you go to like these. Even people complain about Final Fantasy being, oh, why is it exclusive? You go to talk to the Stellar Blade devs, to the Final Fantasy devs. They always say, yeah, Sony's been a great help with us in terms of this stuff.
No.
Why is Black Myth Wukong, you know, the on PlayStation but not Xbox? So Xbox, oh, because you have an exclusivity deal. No, it's because there was issues with both platforms. Sony sent devs to Game Science to help get the game done.
Yep.
Xbox didn't do that.
Yep.
Therefore, the PlayStation game's done.
Exactly. Um, which leads me into point two. fucking Game Pass. Xbox has trained their gamers, their customers, to not buy games. What's the one thing you want people to do with your game when you make it? Buy it, because you have to recoup the funds that you used to make it in the first place. It's just business. So you want to talk about what other companies are doing? Nintendo and Sony are platforms in which people can buy games. Like, if you're an indie dev right now, your main goal is to get on the Switch because indie games sell like crazy there. If you're a developer, you're looking at the population of where gamers play, and Xbox is the smallest. And if they're unwilling to help you make sure that the game is optimized correctly, and if the platform is so small, what's the point of releasing it on Xbox? There probably isn't any, because you can release it on PC, Switch, and PlayStation and do just fine. And
Mm-hmm.
I think also Xbox has trained their customers to play certain kinds of games.
I was gonna say because I mean, as you told me, looking at two things real quick, I was playing up things kind of proving my point than what you're saying. Because Metaphor was advertised with Xbox, like there was a
Yes.
bunch of all that stuff.
Atlas and Xbox have been best friends.
For some reason, even this should tell you, Atlas, you need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
you can release the game on all platforms. I don't give a crap about that.
Just
But
stop
like, you
just
need
stop partnering with Xbox.
stop partnering with Xbox. You need to go back to PlayStation.
It
Stop.
makes me
Like, genuinely.
incredibly nervous.
But this is the case in point. The Metaphor has done extremely well,
Mhm.
and sold like crazy. I had Xbox marketing on the Xbox store. You can leave star reviews on your thing. On Xbox, it's not because it's not on Game Pass, even though it was advertised with Xbox.
Yes.
The Xbox version on the Microsoft Store has 135 reviews.
Okay.
Okay, I'm on the PlayStation Store. Now you can't leave actual reviews like type word reviews like you can on Xbox, but you can still leave star reviews. On the PlayStation Store, you want to take a guess how many people left a star review on the PlayStation
Oh,
Store?
thousands.
5.3 thousand I'm speaking.
I'm pulling up Steam right now as well for you. Steam reviews, there are almost 2,400.
It was advertised with Xbox, yet the other two platforms are way, way, way ahead.
And obviously this is a little bit of clown math, right? Because reviews don't equate to people playing the game. But so if you take that 2,400 on Steam, right? And I told you that there were tens of thousands of people actively playing the game right now. If you take the 5,000 from PlayStation, that means that there's probably 40 to 50,000 people playing that game right now, if not more, because they did sell 1,000,000 copies.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me to believe there's probably only a couple thousand people playing on Xbox.
Yep. And that's the problem with Game Pass. They didn't. Again, I think a lot of also Game Pass players were assuming it would be released on Game Pass because Persona 3 Reload did release on Game Pass day one, and the game was advertised with Xbox. So they probably assumed, hey, Game Pass will have it. I'll be fine. And then it's not there.
And then third reason why people don't want to make games for Xbox, the Xbox Series S. You're actually limiting the types of games that can come to your platform. Baldur's Gate 3 skipped Xbox for a little while because Xbox's stupid console parity rule that they had to break to get Baldur's Gate 3 on the platform, because how can you skip 2023's biggest game? The Xbox Series S is less powerful than the Xbox One in a lot of ways. And it's certainly less powerful than the PlayStation 5. So, for ease of access, it's probably easier to develop for PlayStation 5 because you have better hardware to develop for.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they've already said that it's the PS5 is simpler. Yes, the Series X has a stronger GPU, but there's more to a system than just the GPU.
Yes.
and devs have said that the Sony's, how they integrated the CPU and the RAM and all that stuff, its IO stuff is super simple. Like they really reduced a lot of that overhead. Whereas the Series X, even though it has a good GPU, apparently its memory is divided or something, and it's really strange. So it's even caused a little bit of headache there for the Series X, but the Series S is a massive headache.
I mean, the
Um,
games that have came out and said that the Series S were a problem. Baldur's Gate 3, I think some of the Suicide Squad devs said that. There's a lot of the, I think Gotham Knights was also in that conversation that they blamed the Series S for a lot of the game shortcomings. I mean, all of the Xbox games run at 30 FPS. Redfall, Starfield, 30 FPS because the Series S cannot do any better.
no, I mean I even saw when Digital Foundry was comparing the games, like the versions. Metaphor Refantasy Zero is not like a graphically intensive game at all. Like
No.
it's really good looking because it relies on an art style,
Yes.
but graphically not impressive. Um, and the Series S version looks really blurry, like it is muddy, and it's just like, why does this thing exist? Well, we know why is this because they thought they could, try and pull a smart one and outmaneuver Sony on this thing, and it just
Didn't
didn't
work.
work. So now you have this albatross around your neck.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like, yes, like going back to your point, why is Xbox having to ask in the first place? It's because they're already in their own little echo chamber. You want to talk about not creating an echo chamber? You're already in one. That's why you're having to ask for feedback in the first place.
I mean, you do dumb moves like, oh, we want to. Why are you're wondering why are we going in Japan? Proceeds to close down the studio you own in Japan.
Yep.
And then you had a South Korean company come in and save that studio.
Yep.
Like,
Shout
I
out to
mean,
Crafton for saving for saving Hi-Fi Rush and Tango GameWorks.
like, hell, Metaphor would have been like using advertising because advertising for Xbox. Do you think it would have been a good move to try and push Xbox in Japan? But I don't think they set enough Xbox over there, and I'm pretty sure people figured out like, oh, it's just gonna be my PlayStation 1 PC. I'll just play it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's what I did. I mean, I have it. It started as Xbox, but that's not an Xbox case.
Nope.
I was never gonna
I bought it on Steam, so I could play it on my Steam Deck and on my PC. Like
like.
I have no reason to own an Xbox and I never will. And
Nope.
Xbox currently isn't giving me a whole lot of reasons to play Xbox games.
Oh, I mean, I said we're absolutely beating a dead horse, but they brought it up.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, as I said before, no, it's not good that Sony will be left alone, kind of as in the competitive space. But Microsoft's not competing at all anyway. A lot of people say you shouldn't wish for someone to for them to leave, but I kind of wish they would, so someone else can take their spot. Yes, there's no guarantee that someone else would do good, but as I said before, I think there's a higher chance that someone else can do better in this spot than Microsoft can. I think Microsoft has shown they can't.
Yeah.
So might as well give at least let someone else try, but they can't try when they're over here stuck in the last bit of space.
Honestly, I think what's going to happen is that Xbox will fall out and be a publisher, and I think what we'll have is just Nintendo versus Sony versus PC.
No, I understand that's how it's going to break down, and they're each going to operate in different lanes. Basically,
Yeah,
you have Sony, Nintendo at the low end. Here's portable, kind of cutesy things. You have Sony in the middle end, where you don't want to go spend all that money for super high powered stuff.
but you want
But
access to the latest and greatest games.
yeah, and then you got PC, which I want to spend the big bucks to get the best I can get.
Yes, I want the latest and greatest games at the best possible specs possible.
Yeah,
And I honestly speaking, I think that hits all three types of gamers there are.
yeah, and those three lanes can exist just fine, but
And I
it
think
is
that last lane was the kind of lane that Xbox thought they were in with their bigger, better hardware.
and they
But
could like I don't know, I don't even think they were thinking that way. Um, I don't know because I mean they're even thinking now of releasing a handheld. I think Sony's kind of thinking about it too, but I'm going why are you two trying to think like that? Like, the Portal was accessible, but I think the Portal works because it's not exactly a dedicated handheld.
Well, it's
Uh,
because handhelds are just the handheld PC market's going fucking wild
yeah,
thanks to Switch, Steam Deck, the ROG Ally. I mean,
but I don't think there's a space for Xbox there, and I don't really think there's a space for PlayStation there.
I think there could be a
Um,
space for Sony. I definitely think there could be a space for Sony.
they have ways to make that space for them more so than Xbox does.
'Cause you know a quick and easy way to make me play my PS5? Give me a PS5 Lite that I can take on the go with me and play my games natively. I'm there day one, baby.
I mean, there's talks of them.
PSP, PSP. You just bring back the PSP. You just call it PSP. You just call it PSP.
This is rumors to take a grain of salt, but the rumors are that the PS6 will kind of do that tier thing that the Xbox did, but instead of you know potato console and main console, the main console will be the PlayStation 6, and the potato version will be a handheld. But the handheld will be able to play all PS4 games natively. PS5 games will be kind of like hit or miss, and PS6 games will have to be streamed.
I think they just need to figure out how to do it natively. Um,
It
it's a
just
little bit
it's
higher end price, but it'll get people into your ecosystem, and you can
I
do
mean
the cloud save kind of thing that Steam does, and it'd be really really great.
I get it. It's a big risk because it can easily fail.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Whereas PS6 is the obvious, just safest bet to do, and just keep doing what you're doing and works.
But if you are counting out Xbox and you're looking at PC as like the next big like I wouldn't say competitor because they're actually releasing their games on it, but like market that you want to steal from, having those kind of options, taking those kind of risks are what's going to get you there. Because like for sure, if
Yeah,
I had a PlayStation Portable that is like exactly like my Steam Deck, where I know I'm going to play it at less specs, but I can still play it on the go. And when I get home, it connects to my Wi-Fi, sends my cloud save up, and I can pick up on my PlayStation. I'm there all day. I will play. I will go back to playing my PS5. I'll finish Rebirth and the DLC for Final Fantasy 16. But
I mean you can still do it with the Portal. I think that for the Portal is pretty good at
but
that doing that.
the thing is that you can't do it natively on the portal. Like I have to
No,
be connected to some kind of internet, which is not always possible. If I'm just in the car or I'm in a
true,
waiting room, something along those lines, I just want to be able to pull it out, hit the power button, play my game.
true.
And Sony has a pretty good streaming infrastructure. I used to take my tablet to work and play my PS5 games over my tablet using remote play, and it worked pretty well. But I think we could take that to the next level. If you want in on this portable space, then it the people that are spending money in this space want a premium product that's going to do what they want it to do.
Yeah, and I get that. I don't know if I'm just saying I don't know if handhelds are the moves for both of them. I just don't know. And I think the Portal is a decent half
Well,
measure,
I definitely don't
but
think it's the move for Xbox. Xbox doesn't have the player
no,
count, they don't have the games. But Sony, I definitely think they've already been in that space before. Retro collectors right now are looking at the PSP for collecting opportunities, and it's got a little bit of a nostalgia drive to it right now. And again, they just have the library and they have the push behind it. They just need the tech.
yeah. I mean, 'cause there's multiple factors going in because development costs are going up for them. So it's like
Yes.
it's just a
And
lot of
the
a lot
biggest
of
thing that
issues.
proves it too is the portal against all odds was fairly successful.
Hmm.
People want a portable handheld.
And I think that's again, I don't know what's in the future's going to hold. That's probably what they're sitting there looking closely at. So I don't know what
Yeah.
Sony's really going to do. But we're talking about Microsoft here, not Sony.
Yes.
I don't know what I don't think Microsoft has any cards really to pull. I don't think
No.
releasing a new console early is going to help them.
No.
I
It's
don't
not.
think releasing a handheld is going to help them. Like,
But, I mean, from a new console standpoint, where do you even go? You've already done the bigger, more powerful thing. Sony's also doing the bigger, more powerful thing. Who cares? You've kind of reached your endpoint now. So now it's just what great games can you release, and they don't have anything in the pipeline.
I mean, they have things in the pipeline,
But they
but
have things in the pipeline. Yes, yes. But
but
like,
they're
are those things that people want?
I mean, even if Indiana Jones is good, you already told me that
I'm
you're gonna
getting it
release
on
something.
PlayStation.
Yeah, like, and 3 months later, I can wait 3 months, no big deal. I'll not gonna buy it. There's a difference between waiting, an unknown, usually 2 years amount of time for a PlayStation exclusive to be made to the PC, in turn then there is a 3-month window.
Yeah, for sure.
And honestly, it's a window it's a window that is observantly shortening.
Yes,
So,
because people want to make money. Microsoft's in a place where they need to make money off the Xbox brand, otherwise the Xbox brand closes.
mhm, and the way they're gonna do that is third party.
Yep.
I just kinda wish they ripped the Band-Aid off. As I said before, just they're in such a mess of their own making, which is why they're asking this question, but because they don't know it's of their own making, that's why they're asking it.
Yep.
Um, but at this point, I don't know what more you can do to turn it around because you've already if they didn't buy Activision, I think there's things they could have done.
Yeah,
Because the
for sure.
Activision purchase was so massive, there ain't much left you can do.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Well, Xbox, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, Phil Spencer, feel free to come on the show. We'll ask questions. You give honest answers. We'll have a great time of it.
I don't think they'll have a great time of
We'll,
it.
we'll, we'll get down to the bottom of this. Because at the end of the day, we bash on you because we want you to be more competitive.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
I mean,
Simple
to
as
be
that.
I've said before, I think the 7th gen was a magnificent generation because even though the Wii technically won that of the 3 consoles, but it was only like 10 million sales ahead of the other 2.
Yeah.
And Sony and Microsoft were only about a million apart from each other.
Yeah.
And everyone was firing all cylinders for that generation.
Yeah,
Now
let's go back to Halo 3 and Gears of War 2. Let's go back. Let's see that Xbox that was making moves and taking names, not this husk that can hardly release a game. And when they do release a game, 9 times out of 10 it sucks. And that one time is Hi-Fi Rush and they close it down. Ain't that
like
sad?
Sony Yeah. I mean, yeah, Sony makes mistakes, but like 9 times out of 10, will they hit out of the park? The one time's Concord.
Yeah. One time's Concord.
But I
Heart goes
I
out to people
rather
at Firewalk.
I rather deal with the Concord once in a while than deal with, well, I get Hi-Fi Rush every once in a while, and everything else is
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah. Absolutely. I could not agree more. But the question is if you guys could agree more. Let us know in the comments. What's Xbox path forward? Are you playing Metaphor with us? Hope so. That review is gonna be super fucking long.
Like, we're gonna try and not talk to each other a whole lot about it, so the review is long and lengthy because it's gonna be lengthy.
It's gonna
It's
be
gonna be
so long.
it's gonna be our longest review ever.
I could write an outline of a script and we would not stick to it. I know for a
Oh no,
fact.
no.
I know for a fact because this is the first. I don't know if you know this, but this is essentially the first mainline Atlas game that we'll be reviewing on any of our channels. We did do a Strikers review, but this will be like the first big boy kind of thing. So yeah, so that review is gonna be long. I'll have to clear out a whole day for that shit.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think about Tencent buying Ubisoft? Is it the right play? Should Tencent not spend the money? Let us know in the comments. If you haven't checked out our Paper Mario review, that one got posted up to the channel this week. Check it out. Uh, Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Hit the like button. Do all of those things that every YouTuber asks you. We ask you to do it because it's important. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Adios.